Man, standing on with my feet on each side of the equator. Ah! Southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere. That's so crazy, man. So actually this was built in 1928 and the line of the equator has shifted a little bit technically, but it's like right over there. We're gonna figure that out in a second, but that's all right. The equator line. Geography nerd out moment to the max here. Here is the equator line, where it stood in 1928. But we're gonna stick with it because the Dutch built this here. And hello, Nora. Nice family here want to take a picture with me. So I'm standing east and west. One side on the northern hemisphere, one side on the southern hemisphere. This side is summer, this side is winter. So crazy. All my studies in Portland State University, getting my geography degree and doing GIS and going to London to the Greenwich Prime Meridian and the Tropic of Cancer in Taiwan earlier this year. This one's a huge milestone, man. So crazy. So the Dutch built this as their milestone to be like, we're at the equator in 1928. It's the Dutch colonial times. There's a lady there in 1953 at it. I got a certificate for crossing the equator here in Kalimantan, Indonesia. Yes, right here. There's my name, the mayor of Pontianak. The latitude of 0, 0, 0, 0 and east longitude of 109 degrees, 20 minutes east. That's what it says on the top there. And hold that. I'll run it over here and cross it. My compass app, I just hit 0, 0, 0 right here, actually. So it's somewhere in this zone. I guess it shifts a little bit, which is weird. The Tropic of Cancer and the Greenwich Mean Line, which I went to also. They also said that shifts. GPS could get the calculations perfect. Geography nerd out moment. There's a globe right there. Did you know that you just crossed the equator from south to north? Yes? Can you tell me? How did it feel? Not sure? Just hungry? Ooh, you're not looking very nice. Okay. Wow, equator zone. Ah. Dribbling a basketball on the equator. Hey buddy, this guy can't get off this TV show. He loves it all. He's watching people play video games. Oh, Minecraft. Kids love that stuff nowadays. Oh. Watching other people play video games. You want to play basketball? Woo! Equator line. It's a small basketball. Wow! Prime Meridian in London. 0 degrees east and west. 2019 I went there. 2023, 0 degrees north and south. Ah! I'm on the equator having a bakso. A noodle, Indonesian meatball soup. So right here, just about 0 degrees latitude, north and south. Amazing as a geography nerd my whole life to see this. I'm having a nice soup and coffee in this cool little place. The military's here doing something people think was pretty interesting. Let's go talk about this more. Alright, here I am. Approximate site of the equator. This line right here. 1928. It was down there when the Dutch geographers determined what it was, but because of plate tectonics and maybe some other slight shifts in the tilt of the earth, it's moved over here a little ways. Actually, what we had determined on Google was like right about here, Google Maps, and on the compass app, it was like right around there somewhere where we had just had lunch to that restaurant, which was interesting. very good food. Interesting situation. And right over there is a river, Pontianak, which is interesting how the river kind of straddles the equator. But right here, all right, we're gonna say this is it. Come straight ahead, straight on. All right, so the Earth is divided from northern hemisphere to southern hemisphere. At the Islamic call, the prayer goes off. It's about noon right now, the high sun. So right here, if you had the globe, oh, I should have brought my globe, little globe I have. Oh, we have. So you can see there's the equator going through Africa on this part right here. It's the fattest part of the ball of the Earth. So the most sunlight, because the Earth is tilted in space like this, the sunlight hits that line in the middle there, the fattest part, the most out of anywhere else. That's why it's always hot around here in the tropics, basically, which down there is the Tropic of Capricorn, and the next line up, you can't quite see it, as a Tropic of Cancer, I think. All right, anyways, here's the line, the equator. Yeah, I've been into 2019, London, England, the Greenwich Prime Meridian at the Greenwich Observatory, where time begins, and that's where east and west 0 degrees latitude is. Longitude, 0 degrees longitude. This is where 0 degrees latitude begins. Geography nerd out moment to the max. Oh man, this is so crazy. Right about here. Whoa! Ah! Welcome to the equator. Right in this region, right around here, is the exact equator. We're here in Pontianak, Kalimantan, Indonesia. And on the equator, as a basketball fan, there's less gravitational pull. So technically, you could jump higher than anywhere on Earth. Whoa! Whoa! Man, maybe I could dunk again. So this is why it's a good place for space launches near the equator, because the rocket has less gravitational pull on it. And over here is a big monument, so let's talk about that. And the sky changes. The stars, the more you go that way, you are opposite in space compared to that side, which is crazy. On this side, the water that goes down the drain goes in an opposite direction, like if you flush a toilet compared to that side. Something crazy. So right here, about over there a little ways, is the line. Let's go check out the monument the Dutch built and the Indonesian government built. Yeah. It's about the equator. Equator is Latin, meaning circle, equalizing day and night. The highest point on the equator is in Ecuador, because the equator is located at a point where the Earth bulges around its center. The gravitational pull is weaker. So that's why space agencies like NASA launches their rockets from Florida in the tropics, and China launches their rockets from Hainan in their tropics. Because the closer to the equator you are, the less pull the spaceship has from liftoff to space launching. There's different areas in the world. I guess they do some space launching in the Maldives and Congo. That's interesting. And sailors have many rituals and celebrations for crossing the equator when they're in sea. This is known as crossing the line. Pollywog is often a name given to a sailor who has never crossed the equator. Ooh, I like that. So here we are. The Dutch, 1928, after 1912 or so, when the Qing dynasty ended in China, they had full control over this area. The Dutch colony until 1941, when the Japanese came, and then they tried to assert their control again for 4 more years. The Dutch, it was a very brutal war from 1945 to 1949, and the United Nations was like, all right, Netherlands, you need to give up your colony here. You're being terrible to the people in Indonesia stuff. So yeah, this was built by the Dutch to have some surveyors determine, high technology at the time, 1928. No internet, no GPS. You have to survey the land and do a bunch of measurements to figure out this is exactly where the equator was. And I'm going to do another video on the history of the lava republic that was in here. Cool. Alright. That's good. Less gravity in the equator. This is the original monument built here in 1928 by the Dutch. The Dutch been coming around Kalimantan in this city, Pontianak, since about 1777 and dealing with the Sultanate and the Langfang Chinese Republic that was here, and then Japanese World War II. And that was, war, Indonesian war versus Dutch after World War II. But so we are right now equal distance between the North and South Pole. North Pole and South Pole, equally distant from us. So the Earth is split exactly in half. Cool. And the equator is the longest part of the Earth, 25,000 miles long. About 40,000 kilometers all the way around the planet. Right around this spot. Again, the equator shifts about 9 meters every year, so this is where it was in 1928. It's actually over there now. We calculated by GPS. We'll talk all about it there too. Okay, so we are directly above the sun. Light comes from almost directly above every more equator facts. You head east here, not too far. You hit the international date line where the days switch out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So the average temperature is about 31 degrees. You're right on the line right now, camera woman. Thank you. What was that?
I had 2 birthdays and the air on the
You can have 2
line.
birthdays.
I did.
You did on the airplane going over the international date line?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So there's very little temperature change in the area of the equator. High humidity, which I'm definitely feeling, and rainfall. You do not have seasons here. There's rich biodiversity. The name equator comes from the Latin equator, which meaning circle equalizing day and night. What this signifies, this original monument, is 109 degrees east, 20 minutes, 109 degrees, 20 minutes, 0 seconds east of the Greenwich Mean Line. So OL must mean short for the Dutch word for east, like where the word Oriental comes from, starts with the O. And then GR means Greenwich Mean Line, which is in London. So that's where we are on the equator, man. The Equator Monument in Pontianak, Kalimantan, Borneo, Indonesia. So this part, the line of the equator goes through southern hemisphere, northern hemisphere, winter, summer, southern latitude, the bulge in the center of the earth. Actually, it's shifted since when this was first built in 1928. It moves about 9 meters every year because nothing's perfect like that. It's actually over there, kind of now. We determined by GPS, but still, let's look at the monument. The original monument is a little smaller, built by the Dutch, 1928, and this is a recreation, 1991, to make it bigger. Now, I've been to the Greenwich Prime Meridian, 0 degrees, 0 minutes and 0 seconds longitude in London, and now I've been to the equator, 0 degrees, 0 minutes, 0 seconds latitude. Been to both spots now. Earth, geography, yeah. Alright, man. We're here, 37 degrees. It's hot, it's humid. I'm right on the equator, monument line, where the equator stood in 1928. Northern Hemisphere, USA, China, Europe, Russia, North Africa, Central America, a bunch of other places. This side of the world, right now it's summer. And then it's hot. This side of the world, Southern Hemisphere, Brazil, Argentina, South Africa, Congo, most of the Congo, a bunch of other places in South Africa and South America, Bali, all the islands of Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand, a few other places, Antarctica. This side, Southern Hemisphere, is winter right now. The world is divided in half. Here, north, this weird, cold, crappy looking water, and south at this place. Let's go inside and talk some facts. So, here we are at the equator, and you can feel the heat, man. It's almost high noon. The fattest bulge of the planet we're on right now. So that's why around here it's always hot. And it's always 12 hours of sunlight and 12 hours of darkness. Almost every day. I think there's one day where it's like 8 minutes off or something. So the equator was right there. But now through GPS and everything and plate tectonics, I guess it's moved over here. Let's go try to find it. Whoa, that's really cool. I gotta get a picture of that. Near noon at the equator. It's called the prayers going off. The sun is hot. We're touching closest we can get on Earth to that sun right there. That equator sun has come out. It's about noon right now. 10 minutes to noon. The sky is ultra blue in this part of the Earth. So if you look on the map, that's where we are right here. There's Borneo, Kalimantan Island. That center line that goes through Sumatra, Borneo. There's Sulawesi, part of Papua Island. There's a few things listed here. Not exactly accurate map, but very close. All right, so here, that radiating equator sun. That is part of the planet. We're lucky to have this planet. A lot of people take it for granted, don't realize it. As a geography nerd, it's crazy. Yeah! Yes! I just hit high noon right now, right on the equator. The sun is at its highest point in the sky as it'll be today, as I waltz through the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere on this side. Wow, that's really weird. And the sun's out. It's a perfect bulge of light. You know, Indonesia part here of Kalimantan goes by a different time zone than some of the other parts of Southeast Asia. So I don't know exactly that the sun is exactly high noon right now. You know, that determining time and time zones is actually a made up thing by humans. The exact time where the sun's at the highest point on where you are on Earth, the point where it's in the highest in the sky is hard to determine, but we're gonna do it on the time zone we're at now in Indonesia, right on the equator. It's 12 noon, and that sun right there is hitting hard, man. You never got a real read on the weather. I'm just going crazy over here. Geography educated, bachelor's degree, Portland State University. Someone who's just a lot of my life thinking about the Earth and the planet and maps and traveling around the last 5 years. a digital nomad and teaching my students about all that too. You know, in English, that are learning English, I pop in geography stuff all the time. To be here at the equator at noon, July 13, 2023 is something cool, man. This is where the equator goes through South America, the continent with the most land in the southern hemisphere. This is it, I guess, right here. The equator. Ooh, that's good. Good way to stop. And this is the interesting cross section here. So here is the equator line, and the shirt I'm wearing, longitude line. So this is latitude, north and south, 0 degrees. And where I went in London, England was 0 degrees, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. Longitude, where the time zone starts, that London, the British Empire created in the 1800s or something like that. So the entire world goes by this system. GPS, satellites, military, especially military, needs this. Apps like Grab, Uber, delivery services, Google Maps. So many things use this. Navigation in the colonial era to take boats across the seas all around the world. They needed to know this. The Mercator projection, all these different maps, mapped all these lines out. Ooh! Going crazy about this stuff. World, so the entire world goes by this. We're one planet, one people, one universe, everything on this earth, plants, species, animals, microscopic things, every human of every race, religion, ideology, whatever they are, we're all on this planet together. As I'm on the equator here, let's go look at some other areas. There it is. Here I am. Give or take, right on it. It's about to be noon too. After further review of this globe here is not an accurate map. So that's why I was confused where the equator line was on it. You could have got a real geographer to create this not inaccurately. Come on, man. Jeez. Not just someone to look it over like, oh, it's a little off. Well, what can you do? It's still cool. All right, so the equator line is accurate going here through South America, Ecuador, I think parts of Colombia and Brazil, through like where the Amazon rainforest is. But then through here, Africa is misplaced, and the equator line jumps up to that one, where it goes through, the Congo, the equator there. All right, so it goes just south of Equatorial Guinea, through Gabon, the Republic of the Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which is a huge country where gorillas live and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. The old Belgian colony, they did a bunch of. Anyways, Uganda, Kenya, a small part of Somalia is where the equator goes through in Africa. The lines up there goes through Sumatra and Kalimantan, Indonesia, Sulawesi, Indonesia, part of Papua New Guinea in Indonesia, a bunch of tiny islands up there in the Pacific, Kiribati and stuff like that. And then the accuracy of the map drops at some point here in the international date line. It goes back down to South America. Oh, that's why I was off a little bit. Yeah, that's the equator line. What I'm not putting in this at all is the monument right there. Let's go look at that. Country I missed that's on the equator. Oh, not here. When you get past Africa, the Maldives is on the equator. In the Indian Ocean. Cool. So the weather at the equator, just like it is now, it's about 99 degrees, so about 30 Celsius or so, 28. It's always hot and humid. Receives the most sunlight anywhere on Earth here. Forgot one place, Sao Tome and Principe Islands off the coast of Africa right there. Old Portuguese place are also on the equator. West coast. Cool. I was way off. 37 degrees Celsius here on the equator at this moment. Probably gets even hotter though. So it's like this pretty much all year long. 12 months a year on these places of the world. Abundant with life though. Lots of forests, creatures, different things. It goes mostly through the ocean. Ocean water gets warm. We don't have an ocean over here, but we have a river. Let's check that out. It's a river which pretty much straddles the equator through here. Is the longest in all of Indonesia. Pontianak. It's not looking great. Sewage maybe goes in there. There's tons of plastic everywhere. Silt, run off. Goes out to the sea out there. South China Sea. Part of the Indian Ocean, I guess. Pacific Ocean. All the way inland into jungle mountains. Pretty much right on the equator. Cool. Sit here relaxing on the river. Just looked up another equator fact. Places on the equator experience the shortest sunrises and sunsets because the sun is perpendicular to the earth. So the sun goes down quick. About 12 hours equal sunlight and darkness at the equator. Right about there. And the equator shifts about 9 meters every year because of the axis and spin of the earth isn't exactly perfect, you know, so that's why that Dutch monument way in the back there was built in 1928, almost 100 years ago. It's moved a little bit. Probably take plate tectonics too. Oh man, I'm trying to nerd out on this way too hard. I can't remember all the information. The sun is blue, hot, man. Not the sun is blue, the sky is blue. Right here. There's the monument. 109 degrees, 20 minutes, 0 seconds left of Greenwich line. I didn't explain what this says. So 109 degrees and 20 minutes and 0 seconds, which is 109.2 basically from this line. 0 degrees, 0 seconds, 0 minutes, 0 seconds, which is the Greenwich Mean Line that goes through London, parts of France, I think, and through Western Africa, where time begins. Greenwich Mean Time. 0 degrees longitude. So this is 109 degrees east of that. That's what that says up there. OL must mean east in Dutch. They built this, and G, and GR, I think it says, stands for Greenwich, where Greenwich Observatory is, where the first geographers started determining this system that we all use. I got the shirt from there in 2019, prime meridian of the world. I got the shirt from here also, that's in Indonesian, but in Bahasa Indonesia, but it says equator on there. All right, let's look at this. This is interesting. Careful, maybe you should walk through there. This is the old way of telling time. Sundial. So I think they put this here because we're in a place where the sun hits basically the same all year long. All year long, the sun. Right now, the sun just kind of hit a cloud while we're talking about it. Still kind of see it. Cool. We're into this equator day on the Pontianak River, the longest in Indonesia. Did you know that? Longest river, all of the whole country.
Did not.
Hung out the equator all day. Power went out. My energy, I was so pumped, caused a power surge. You know, I feel like that might be common around here, especially in the heat. everyone's using AC or just the power grid in general probably isn't that great. You know what? The Dutch really did. Oh, that shit came from the car. The Dutch, they weren't the best colonialists, man. You know, I shout out to Dutch people, friends, and things
Are
out
there
there.
people
They just.
on
It's a shipping boat.
For what?
Like, places that were British colonies often are much more put together. Just my opinion. French and Spanish too. Everywhere's a little different. I don't know. All right, bye Equator. What do you think about that?
Very interesting.
Kind of an imaginary line in the mind of humans. Technically, it is scientific. It's why seasons exist. The shape of the planet Earth. We're just on this planet. It's crazy to think about it. All right, peace, Equator. Now on to the Langfang Republic. If I have energy, I'm gonna do a video about that now. Certificate of being at the equator.
Oh my goodness, really nice.
People, I guess, live back here. They got a little set zone. Photo. Yes, lots of photos. This place is right on the equator, as of right now. But GPS is reading 0.0 degrees. So we're having lunch here. It's an interesting little place. Cool. That nasi lemak. I got a certificate for crossing the equator, and this car is doing it stop. Do it again. There is 109 degrees east, 109 degrees 20 minutes east of the Greenwich Prime Meridian, which is where we are on the equator. The Prime Meridian actually crosses the equator like somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, I think, so it doesn't hit land where that happens, where it's exactly 0.00000. But that's cool that I've been to both. Heck, I kind of just wish the shirt said the equator on it. I don't know why. It's kind of weird, but that's alright. That one's kind of cool. I might get one. Alright, we've been hanging out at the equator here for a couple hours. It feels like the equator. Lots of groups of locals coming by, taking photos. It's really cool. Hard to get the juice, honeydew thing, hydrate. Been hanging out here for a while. This is the reason I came to the city, so might as well hang out. It's all good. Yeah. Degrees at the equator today. Which it probably is pretty much all year long. Man, got a little thing for hydration. Yeah, it's a cool monument, man. What does it say there? We're having a snack of Indonesian classics. I'm getting myself a bakso.
I'm getting an ayam crispy.
And where does it say 000?
Latitude.
Right there. We're on directly on the equator right here. Right in this spot. Crazy. It is hot. It is fan. What? Relentless.
They want
Especially the kittens. Hello. You are David. Here's the mama and papa. I know. You want your kittens to be fed, but
You get food.
you get fed.
These are nice people.
It's fast-paced music. They love it. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Drinking some tea in the night. 7 a.m. in the morning. Anytime. Dun-dun-dun. Can't quite see it now, but we're going over this crazy bridge. Over the river. Look at all the motorbikes. This river pretty much straddles the equator, which is interesting. Nice size for motorbikes. What's that? Pontianak River.
Where the fishies come from.
It's a big river. Tropical river. You know, a lot of water, a lot of rain coming down. Goes right out to the sea down that way. Next stop, across the sea is Sumatra or so. Maybe Singapore if you make a little right turn. And right around here is the equator line. Crazy. Wow, look how crazy it looks up there. Recently, the main river juts out to the other direction to a second huge river going through Pontianak. And there's only 2 bridges to get over both of them for the whole city, which is crazy. Hey, buddy, have a good ride. No boats out there going.